So whether you're seated, whether you're standing, feel your feet onto the floor. I've got mine about I don't know, about a foot apart. And I'm trying to have the toes pointing straight forward, at least the outsides of the feet. I've got a bunion, so sometimes it looks like it's going crazy to the side. Yeah. Trying to have a little bend in my knees while I do this. So I invite you to have the arms out to the side here just for a moment. And I invite you to place your hands low on your belly, below your belly button, and then one hand above that. We're going to do low belly breathing to begin with. So what I invite you to do, relax those shoulders. Very good. We're going to breathe in. Let's expand the belly as we inhale. And as we exhale, really draw that belly button towards your spine. Again, inhale, belly out. And exhaling. Couple more times here. Here we go. Breathe in. And breathe out. One more time. Here we go. Breathe in, belly big. And out. Okay. Now I invite you, whether you're seated on the chair or standing today, feel your feet on the floor. So I'm kind of like shifting my weight forward and back. I'm noticing, is it more in my heel? Is it more in the ball of my foot? Or is it kind of evenly spread out along the entire foot? For me, I typically have a lot of my weight in the back of in the heel. So it's a little challenge to kind of have it all into the feet. We're going to do a little bit of postural alignment, which helps with lessening back pain. So the first one is we're going to do that letter W. So we're squeezing the upper back musculature, which, by the way, helps with back pain, by the way. And then I'm going to come up to the camera. With that squeezy shoulders, what we're going to do with the hands is fold the fingers into the pad of the hands and line the top of the wrist with the forearm. So this is called golfer's grip. And we have the thumb kind of sticking out. So it's like a little hitchhiker thumb. And then from here, with the shoulder squeeze, extend those arms out into a letter T. Maybe you can only do this one side at a time. So kind of look, thumbs pointing forward, squeezy shoulders, soft bend in the knees. We're going to draw circles forward and back behind you. And again, make sure it's going back behind your body, all right? And kind of look there if you need to. And then maybe you can speed it up a little bit. It might feel a little vigorous here, okay? Because you're really squeezing the upper back musculature. And you might find this little oscillation of the upper body into the lower body. So this helps with low and upper back pain. And you might feel your biceps, your triceps firing up a little bit, your shoulders, your upper back muscles, maybe the forearms also, tops of the hands, palms of the hands. Woo! And then release. From here, cup the hands. We do this in our Tai Chi class. We're just going to basically throw the arms and bend the knees at the same time. So get a little lubrication of those joints, the elbows, the shoulders, the knees, the ankles. Now you're only going as high as comfortable as you can, okay? And then we're going to bend the elbows a little bit by tapping the shoulders. So today's kind of like a little combo class. What's good for backs, we're going to take out of Tai Chi. What's good for backs, we're doing with yoga, okay? Let's do two more. 2 and 1. Very good. Now we're going to go back to squeezy shoulders. So squeezy shoulders, fingers into the pads of the hands, thumbs sticking out, squeeze those shoulders, soft bend in the knees, don't lock those knees, okay? And extend those arms out once again. Now the thumbs were pointing forward to begin with. Oh, I don't think I mentioned that, but by the way, they were. And then do thumbs up and thumbs to the back of the room. Ooh, feels a little different now. Now we're going to draw circles behind us and forward. Again, you may need to do just one side at a time, and that's okay too. But squeezy shoulders. And if you can, rev it up. If you can't, just do what you do. Hello, shoulders. They're talking to me. They're going, woo. Hello. You may notice your heart rate going up a little bit too. Let's do 3 more. 3, squeeze those shoulders. 2, and 1. And again, from here, we shook the arms to the forward. Now we're going to shake them out and across. And if you can, just do a little twist side to side. And if you're doing this in the chair, you're doing this a little bit slower. Lubricating that spine a little bit. This makes you dizzy. Have your head look forward while you do that. You won't twist as much, but that's okay, all right? Oh, I can feel all the snap, crackle, pops happening here. Let's do 2 more. This is 2. And this is 1. Very good. Now, again, with those golfer grips, we're going to do a little bit of kind of extension and flexion of the upper back with this next movement. So we're going to do the golfer grips again. So, we had them going out this way before, up and down. But this time, have them point towards the center. And then we're going to place these knuckles on our temples. Okay, this is interesting. And then bring your elbows in, oof, and back out. And again, go nice and slow here. Keep breathing. So again, a lot of issues with back pain are from the thoracic, the mid part of the spine, up into the cervical spine. So again, we're kind of working that upper back musculature, even though a lot of people have low back challenges, yeah? Let's do 2 more. Here we go, 2 and 1. From here, clap the hands, rub some heat into the hands. While we're seated, while we're upright, let's do the big 6 lymphatic drainage. So we're going to take those warm hands and stroke across above and below our collarbone. And you can tap, tap, tap. Now we're not digging or really hard. It's just kind of a nice tapping there. And then go over to the other side. Spread out those hands above and below that collarbone. You can look up, this is Big 6, Dr. Perry Nicholson, for more information about the technique that I teach. And tap, tap, tap. Very good. And then we spread out the hands again. We're going to take them here alongside the side of the ear, in front and back of the ear, down the side of the neck, and then down the jawline. So again, get back here in the back of the head also. There's a lot of lymph node nests hanging out there. Again, you're not digging, it's a light stroke, okay? Some people do this both sides at the same time, but I don't want to mess with my carotid arteries both at the same time, so I do one side at a time. Again, spread out, do the other side. Ooh, my hands are cold. Are your all's hands cold with this cold weather? Imagine they are, yeah. Oof. So imagine you've got swollen ankles. You're thinking, how am I going to get all that lymphatic fluid from the bottom back up to my clavial vein? Well, you got to work from low pressure to high pressure. So now we're going to go to the armpits. So rub the armpits. So this specific sequence is to return that edema, that swelling, that excessive inflammation from the feet, from those extremities back to going into that left side and into our circulatory system. You can also pat. Your thumb is here in that chest area and the pectorals. Let's do the other side. So again, men and women that get breast cancer, they check these areas. Did the cancer move to this area? They'll do ultrasounds, right? Woo. All right, now I try to find the bottom of my ribs. I kind of poke there and I pull across kind of on that curve. Sometimes, that diaphragm's like really stuck up in there, yeah? So I kind of do this just to kind of massage that a little bit. And then however you want to address the torso, maybe you want to do pounding, maybe you want to rub up and down, maybe you want to go clockwise, which means from the top to the left to the right. So that's to aid digestion and elimination. What does this have to do with back pain? You hold inflammation in your body, it's going to enhance your back pain. So we're trying to lessen our internal inflammation. If you're seated on a chair, you're standing, bring those feet out kind of wide where the torso inserts into the leg, that little crease there. We're going to chop that crease or chop the quad. It can be a very soft chopping. You can also rub, but we're a mixed company. I'm not going to rub, okay? I'm going to chop. Makes a nice little sound. Again, uterine, ovarian, prostate cancer, they check these areas. Did the cancer move to these areas? These lymph node nests. Step it in, and then maybe you're bringing your feet forward if you're seated in the chair, but you're going to bend your knees and rub the back of the knees. This is especially beneficial if you've got swelling edema of the feet, okay? Also, legs up the wall, legs on the chair helps with that too. Just another little throw it out there kind of thing. Woo! All right. Clap the hands once again. And then move the hand heat into your fingers, increase circulation. Love it. And since we're here, bring the hands out to the side, open and close. That has nothing to do with the back pain. It just feels good. Unless, of course, you've got some swelling going on with those finger joints. Yeah, okay. Now we're going to come down to the yoga mat or seated on the chair. So I use the chair to come down to the floor. I also use the chair to come up off the floor. Since I have spicy back pain, I'm going to take that yoga blanket off. And I just, hands on the chair, step one leg back and softly come down to that knee. That's my knee. That's an okay knee. The other one's kind of spicy. And I just kind of tip down to the floor when I do this next thing. Because, again, I've got a spicy knee. I like to keep that blanket around for some of our hands on our knees postures. We're going to start in constructive rest pose. Make sure you got your yoga block, your strap nearby. This class is better done with gear. So if you don't have gear, that's okay. Do the class later on, find some gear, a pillow, a tie, a long towel, and do the class again with the recording with the gear. See how it makes it feel a little bit different. Okay, so get that yoga block out of the way. So you're coming away from the back of the chair, your feet a little forward, knees at 90 degrees if you're seated on the chair. So coming away from the back of the chair helps engage those tall posture muscles. You remember this though, chair folks, doing this on the bed or on the couch or some elevated surface. If you don't like to get down to the floor, there's other ways to kind of do this and, kind of still do the class. So for me, this feels kind of icky in my body. So I got to grab my wrist and then pull my shoulder up and away and then replace it back on down. So because I've got that scoliosis going on, yeah. I grab my other wrist because it wants a little relief going on there too. Very good. So this feels better in my body, but sometimes down here at the back side of the pelvis, it still kind of feels odd. So I will walk my feet towards my behind, lift my behind, and place my spine back down onto the yoga mat. That feels okay. Again, if you can be in this posture, constructive rest pose, 5 to 10 minutes, it's very beneficial for releasing tightly held back tension. And it's kind of hard sometimes to go like, oh, I'm just going to lay on the floor or lay on the bed 5 to 10 minutes. Do it. I mean, if you're coming here for back challenges or back pain, this is very beneficial. Now, next is knee to chest pose. So if you're seated, you might have your hands back behind the knee or the strap along the bottom of the foot. We're going to lift the leg and invite the knee in towards the chest. So what you're trying to notice here is how much of this leg is into that hip crease or the hip crease, into the sideways, into the ribs, or maybe it's more far away. So just kind of notice where it feels naturally, okay? Let's do a little point and flex of the foot. That's to help with ankle mobility, help to have better walking ability. And then make that pause and take your foot and draw it inward and then out. There may be a lot of snap, crackle, pops happening here. Woo! You might notice your shin starting to get a little tired. And let's pause and reverse that. Go the other way. So it's never the same shape when I go the other direction. It feels like an amoeba, not a circle or an oval. And then release that down to the floor. We're going to do the other side. So notice what you notice here, inviting the knee into the chest. Now, for me, this one's more into my sideways, how much my range of motion is different one side versus the other. Maybe you notice that too, maybe not. And then let's go ahead and do that point and flex. So here we go. You may have some snap, crackle, pops on that point and flex on this side too, or you may not. Some folks will put a yoga blanket underneath the top of the shoulders, the back of the head, because it feels more comfortable. So just know that's an option also, okay? And then make the foot still. Now we're going to draw the circle inward. Woo. Again, notice if it feels different from the original side that you did, the first side. and reverse. Oof. Very good. And then place that foot back down onto the yoga mat, foot back down to the floor. We're going to do notice pose. For notice pose, we're going to extend the leg out. And you do the same seated on the chair. You're resting on the back of the heel, and then the other. And you're noticing, okay, where do I find some tight areas or some kind of challenges in the body? For me, it's my left hip, the right calf, the right shoulder. Again, that's probably because of my curve in my spine, my disc degeneration, my spondylolisthesis, retrolisthesis, all sorts of stuff going on in my back, in my wonderful back. All right, and then contract your belly button towards your spine. We're going to slide a foot back onto the yoga mat, then the other. Let's do windshield wipers. Now, you may want to have your yoga block. Now, if you're a seated chairperson today, you may want to have your yoga block in front of you and place the balls of the feet on the yoga block. For those of us laying on the floor, you may want the yoga block in just a moment. So what we're going to do is take one leg and drop it out to the side with a bent knee. So it looks like a, let's say, what do they call this? Cobbler's pose or butterfly pose. So you're going to kind of notice, do I need to have that yoga block underneath because it's a little bit too much? So you can also, adjust the height of your block for how much you want to drop it down towards the floor. And then you take the other leg and drop it towards the bottom leg. Woo! Now we're not trying to stack the hips or anything. We're getting this nice, or maybe not so nice, low lumbar twist going on. You may want to do some counter pressure. You can take a thumb or the heel of the hand and maybe press into this spicy top hip area or not. Up to you. I like to do trigger point self massage. So this is kind of like a little trigger point thing. And then contract the belly button towards the spine. Bring the top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. So you're back into your reset posture, constructive rest pose. Now let's do the other side. So drop the other knee out to the side. And you're resting on the side of the foot here. And then I don't need the block on this side. Take the other leg, drop it towards the other leg. And so I'm going to take my hand underneath. I'm clearing a little bit of space here. My behind is rolled up and off. And I'm going to take the heel of my hand, press into my kind of spicy area. When you have spice in the yoga posture, listen to your breath going in through the nose. Let's do that. Expand that belly when you breathe in, and then listen to the breath coming out of the nose. Sometimes that helps redirect your senses to where you don't feel the spice. Sometimes it doesn't help. All right, contract the belly button, bring the knee back to the center, and then the other knee. Woo! Okay, grab your yoga strap. So we're going to do big toe hold. Again, it's a bone building exercise plus a back easing exercise. You're going to take your strap, the middle of the strap, along the bottom of your first foot or one of your feet. And then if you're doing this seated in the chair, your leg is straight out in front of you and you're resting on the back of the heel and toes towards you. You might feel a lot of hamstring congestion or feeling going on. Yeah, you can always have a little soft bend in the knee. So what I'm going to do with the yoga strap, I'm going to pull on it, and then I'm going to bend my knee a little bit and then push the strap away. Woo! Now, if this is too much for your grip, what you do is you bring your hands up or down the strap and wrap your wrists around the strap and re-engage. Push, pull. You may feel your low back pushed into the floor a little bit. And we breathe. So we hold the position about 30 seconds or more to get the bone building benefit. When you contract large muscle groups, remember, point your toe towards you, get a little bit more of that calf contraction. When you contract large muscle groups and hold the position for 30 seconds to a minute, 12 seconds, that helps stimulate bone growth. So we're doing a bone building and a back easing yoga posture here. It's part of the 12 yoga postures for easing osteopenia, osteoporosis, but that's another class, okay? Now we're going to switch this up a little bit. We're going to take the other foot and tap, tap, tap into the other foot, and then press that foot into the floor and drop the knee out to the side. So we're doing one half of a windshield wiper. Now the leg that's in the sky, Let's drop it out to the side. So you're going to take your leg out to the side if you're seated on the chair, reposition it, back of the heel, toes towards you, pull, push. Don't be wimpy on this one, okay? Again, we're trying to go for that muscular contraction in this particular yoga posture. If you find the opposite hip is starting to roll off the ground, you've kind of gone a little too deep into the pose. You may want to back off just a little bit, bring it more towards the center, but still pull, push, okay? Might be spicy. And again, decide, do I want to bend the knee a little bit? If you do, you're going to feel it more in the calf. Is that better or not? You have to make that judgment call, yeah? And again, I get to talk for about 30 seconds. I think y'all just come to class to hear me talk. I think that's what's going on here. No, maybe it's for back yoga. It could be for back yoga. Okay, it is. All right, bring everything back to the center. Yay. And then release the strap from your foot and then clap your hands because it's like, that's awkward pose, Miss Vicky, is when you're hanging onto the strap and your hands are like kind of stoved up. Yeah. So let's bring a little sensation, a little circulation back into the hands. I love it. And let's do the other side. So take the strap into the other foot. Y'all going, wait a minute. I just dropped the strap. Okay. Yeah, I've got socks on because it's cold today. So again, pull, push. Woo. Notice what you notice. Is it more spicy? Is it less spicy? Is it about the same? Does it feel different? That kind of thing. Again, I'm going to bring my hands up the strap and then wrap my wrists. It's a little bit easier grip hold for me. And again, make sure your toes, top of the foot aligned with your shin, ankle, so it's not turned out to the side. Everything's kind of nice and aligned. Decide if you want a softly straightened leg or a little bend in the knee. Okay, we got to stay in that yoga posture. Some folks will bring the hands up to the end of the strap and rest the back of the arms on the floor because they've got short arms, long torso, or something like that. My arms are off the ground. So I'm feeling this a little bit in my biceps, in my forearms, because I'm really, really pulling with lots of strength here in big toe hold. Woo! Even though we're not holding the toe, we're doing it with a yoga strap, okay? That's good. I love it. I love using the gear to enhance yoga postures. Okay, now we're going to tap the other foot. Little vibrational energy is always good for the body. Helps move that lymphatic fluids too. A little tap, tap, tap. And we're going to take the tappy foot, make it still, and drop the knee out to the side. So there's your half of a windshield wiper. Woo! Now the leg that's in the sky, let's drop it out to the side. Now I've got the wall here, but I can't go any further. So there you go. And again, is that opposite hip rolling off the ground? Try to have both back sides of the bun. That's hard to say, folks. Both back sides of the bun firmly on the floor or on your chair. It's not the back side, though, when you're seated on the chair. It's a back resting on the back of the heel. Taking that leg out to the side, pulling and pushing into that yoga strap. This one's can be done just as beneficial seated in the chair as opposed to laying on your back, but you're going to feel it a little bit more in your behind bones. Okay, do we have behind bones? I guess we do. What's the fancy word for it? Sits bones, sitting bones? I'm sure there's some other technical names for it, but for the life of me, I can't think of what that is. So you just get to hear what I say. Woo! Got to stay here a little bit longer. Not much, but a little bit longer. Just a little bit or a lot of it. Woo! And you know what? Bring it back to the center. Yay! Take that strap off. Release the hands. Oh my gosh. Clap the hands. Clap them again. And then get a little feeling in there. So today's all about variations of bird dog. One of our longtime yoga students requested us to do bird dog. We're first going to do bird dog seated on the chair or lying on our back. So I'm going to take that yoga strap out to the side. Let me kind of get down on the yoga mat a little bit so this shows up a little bit better in the camera. Okay, I'm going to reposition myself back into constructive rest pose. But before we do variations of bird dog, let's extend our legs. Let's do notice pose, okay? Notice how your back feels just with doing big toe hold, windshield wipers, knee to chest, point and flex. Do you feel any different in the different places in your body? So I don't feel as tight on that left hip. I don't feel anything on my left or right leg or do I feel it in my right shoulder? Not so much, a little bit on my right shoulder. So I'm already feeling a release in my body. Good stuff, bad stuff. We'll see. All right, so we're going to sit in constructive rest pose, whether you're on your chair. Now scoot away from the back of the chair, okay? And feet on the yoga mat, laying on your back. From here, so this is where it gets kind of tricky. I got to say the words for the chair. I got to say the words for laying on the back. So I'm going to do the back first. So let's think about that. We're going to think about our left leg, okay? Left leg, let's take the foot off the yoga mat and have the knee bent. So if you're seated on the chair, foot off the ground a little bit and raised up, okay? Now you may have to have a hand underneath to assist. Kind of depends on your strength, your ability to do this, or your spiciness of your back pain. Now, right arm, bring your right arm in front of you. And then what I want you to do is keep your fingers, glued to each other. And I want you to wave your arm up and down, like you're doing a weird basketball dribble with a straight arm. Does that make sense? You should feel a little bit of your core in the front side of your body being activated. You might feel it in your back also. So again, we're accessing our multifidi muscle. So this is a variation of bird dog. It's moving bird dog. And then release it down. Foot back down on the floor, hand back to a wherever position, okay? Now we're going to try the other side. So we're going to take the right leg off the yoga mat, off the chair. If you're a chair, you got like a flexed foot, right? Let's just softly flex the foot. And again, if you have to have a hand underneath to make that happen, seated on the chair, that's what you're doing. So it's just kind of hanging out here in space. The other knee is in constructive rest posture. From here, take that left arm out in front of you, just kind of shooting it towards the ceiling, straight forward, parallel or perpendicular to the floor, depending if you're on the ground or on the chair. Now, glue those fingers, bring that thumb into the side of the hand too, and then dribble your basketball. We do this in chair Tai Chi sometimes when we do the knee strengtheners. You probably didn't recognize that, but yes, here it is right here. And again, you may be noticing a bit of core activation when we're dribbling that basketball. Woo! And release the hand down, release the leg down. Shake the legs, shake them. Come up on the balls of the feet if you're on the chair. And then stomp your feet or march in place. Do what you can. Sometimes on your back, this is not easy to do. Just know that. Now we're going to go back to that same bird dog. So left leg off the floor, bend that knee, flex that foot gently. Both arms out in front as if you're flying through the air. And then let's paddle the arms in the air. So you're doing opposite arms, if that makes sense. Again, we're activating our core, our torso muscles, our back muscles, the front, the sides. Now do both arms at the same time. Ooh, that's not fun. And release. Woo! Heart rate may have gone up a little bit because you're using a little more cardio in your postures. Other leg, right leg, flex that heel, knee bent. Again, lift it off the chair. You don't have to do too much though, okay? Just a little bit, all right? But those of us laying on our back, it's a nice right angle. Now, both hands go fly through the air. And let's do alternate them. Alternate, flying through the air, dribbling the basketballs, and then do them at the same time. Here we go. Woo! Oh my goodness. And release. Yay. Let's do some windshield wipers, but let's do both legs at the same time. Go on that yoga block if you're seated on the chair, and then just kind of drop them over to one side. Okay, just kind of notice what you notice, and then squeeze the belly button towards the spine. You may have to have a hand to guide it back to the center. That's okay. Just know that, all right? And then we're going to drop them over to the other side, both at the same time. Goodness gracious. And you may notice some little grabby sensation happening here in the quadriceps lumboris and some of the latissimus dorsi, the psoas, iliopsoas, all that stuff. And then squeeze the belly button, bring it back to the center. Okay, From here, let's take one of our knees in towards our chest, and we're just going to kind of work that knee, work that hip a little bit. So we're going to extend the leg out. And so you're resting on the back of the heel if you're doing this seated. And then inhale, bring the knee in. Strap can be along the bottom of the foot when you do this too. Exhale, leg out. Snap, crackle, pop might be happening. Inhale, knee in. Exhaling, leg out. Knee in. Let's do one more. Exhale, leg out. Feel that low core activate. Inhale, knee in, and bring the leg back down to the floor. Let's do the other side. Invite the knee in. Woo! Inhale, leg out. Exhale. Well, I think I messed up. Inhale here, and then exhale, leg out. Inhale, bring it in. Exhaling, leg out. Maybe go a little lower, maybe not. Again, inhale, knee in. Exhale, leg out. One more time. Inhale, knee in. Exhaling, leg out. And then, of course, one more time to bring it back, okay? Very good. I'm going to walk my feet towards my behind. Those of you laying on the floor, you lift up and then roll over onto one side. That's if you have SI joint dysfunction. If you have pain rolling over in the bed, side to side, that means you got a misalignment going on. Hand in front of you, leg extended out, come up to either onto your forearm. Sometimes we're dizzy when we come up off the floor to upright. And I'll make sure my block is close by. I have 2 blocks today. You know what? Let me get the other block. I don't know how that happened. And then come up to seated. Now you can either be seated on the chair, seated on the yoga mat, or my favorite is to grab that yoga blanket because I don't like to sit on my behind because again, I've got this asymmetry happening. I have one hip that's higher in my body because of the scoliosis. It's spicy sometimes. I take that yoga blanket or that big towel and I fold it into thirds. You know, I make it skinny, and then I fold it into thirds because I want to have a nice little edge. It's not much. It's about, I don't know, almost an inch. So I've got this thickness here, and I'm going to sit my behind on that edge there. So I'm going to bring it back behind me. I bet you my hair is doing crazy stuff. Okay, and I got to lift up. Oh my gosh, that feels so much. So this allows my pelvis to tilt forward. Even though I've got this curve in my spine, this feels better in my body because it's going to mold into having those hips feel a little bit easier. Now, today I'm not feeling the knee spice that I normally do. Normally I would take a yoga block underneath and rest. Words are not happening today. So just know that, well, that feels good too. I just can't decide. I'm going to leave it here. If you have 2 yoga blocks, that's the best, okay? Have 2 yoga blocks. From here, so we did that weird variation of bird dog, sitting on the chair, you know, doing this up and down. So again, it's kind of sneaky core work mixed in there. And then we're gonna do our twist, and we're gonna move on to some more bird dogs. Now, I'm sure that Miss Vicky's gonna show the standing bird dog. So if you need a standing version, watch her screen. If you want to join me, I'm going to be on the floor with my yoga blanket underneath my knees. First, we go back to that one we just did at the beginning where we contract the upper back musculature. I'm going to move this foot out. There you go. Okay. Had to do a minor adjustment there. And again, breathe in, belly big, and then contract the belly button. And then you're going to turn, chin line with your chest, turn towards one side. Now you're trying to keep the squeezy business going on here with the upper back, but sometimes I lose the outside shoulder, so I re-squeeze it, okay? And then we're going to breathe in, belly big, and then exhale back to the center. You're probably going, whoop, hello, shoulders. In fact, relax it down. Let's do a little Dowager hump prevention, or a little break in between, but is it really? No, it's not. So inhale, shoulders up towards your ears and squeeze your armpits. Okay, this feels awkward. Now we're going to turn over towards the side that we just twisted to. And it's kind of like, oh my gosh, okay. And then relax and release it down. That's the best part of the pose. Come back to the center. Now we're going to do squeezy shoulders again. So squeeze the shoulders. Get that letter W happening here. The hands are not in golfer's grip. Yay. We're going to twist over to the other side. So breathe in first. And then exhale, twist, twist, twist. Did you twist more on the second side? I did. Re-squeeze your shoulders if you can. Breathe in, belly big. Exhale back to the center and relax it down. Now, from here, we're not going to do the, well, yeah, we are. Squeeze them up towards your shoulders. Squeeze the armpits. I said, we're not going to do the Dowagers hump on the other side. Yes, we are. We're going to make it complete. Then we're going to turn and just kind of hang out here, hang out or hang up, one of the two. Feels weird. Feels like, oh, what's going on here? And then relax it down, the best part of that pose, and bring it back to the center. While we're here, shoulder rolls. Oh my gosh. And for me, I can feel my back popping, my ribs kind of getting more in alignment in my back part of my ribs. And then reverse it. I'm kind of doing like elbow digs here, seems like. I'm really using this is also called lung qigong in Tai Chi, where we really get into the deep places of our lungs and the muscles around the rib cage. So it's a good thing. And then shake it out. Okay. I'm going to take my yoga block out to the side, strap out to the side. So for bird dog seated on the chair, before we had the hand in front doing this basketball thing. But what you're going to do instead is, again, lift the knee, flex the foot, and take that opposite arm up. You may have to have the same side arm as the leg lifted to be helping you lift. But that is your variation seated on a chair. Now, you got to scoot forward on the chair to make that happen. No behind in the corner of the chair. That's not cool. It just doesn't work as well. So let's transition those of us that are going to do this on the yoga mat onto the yoga mat. Let's see. Miss Vicky also called this awkward pose. I'm trying to think, how can we make it awkward? I'm not sure. But I think she said that Rick called it that. Rick would teach variations of bird dog in his chair yoga class, his yoga classes. So, oh, wow, look at there, a match, pink on pink. That's kind of cool. Again, I'm really strange, right? I always like to use that yoga mat or that yoga blanket or towel to cushion my knee. No, we're just going to go right into bird dog. Okay, so we're going to have hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Traditional bird dog is you extend a leg out towards the edge or off your yoga mat. Mine's off. And I'm going to press my heel to the back of the room to get that calf contraction. That kind of radiates up into my hip when I do that. And then from here, I'm going to take that opposite arm, bring it forward a little bit. So I'm on my fingertips here. Then I'm going to breathe in, belly soft. Now contract my belly button towards my spine, lift my heel, lift my arm, look at the floor, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Now you can be on the top of the foot or curly toe. A lot of people like to do curly toe because it keeps them gripped to the floor. And release. Woo! We held that for a little bit. I hope y'all were breathing. Let's do the other side. Extend that other leg. Again, I'm on the kind of curly toe. And I'm going to press my heel to the back of the room. Feel that calf contraction. Oh my. And then I'm going to move my wrist there. And I'm going to take my opposite hand, fingertips on the yoga mat. So I'm prepping for this posture here. Breathe in, belly big, soft. And then exhale, contract that belly button. Lift the heel, lift that opposite arm. It may not be straight. It may be a bent elbow. Just know that. Woo! You feel what you feel here. And release down to the floor. So this next sequence, so that's, the mechanics of oppositional reach, spinal balance, bird dog. We're going to coordinate this with the breath. So I love doing that because it's kind of meditative. And when you move with the breath, breathe with the movement, it lowers your cortisol, that hormone that causes excessive belly fat. Well, I got it going on, but I'm still working on it. So here we go. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Let's inhale an opposite arm and leg outward. Belly soft. Exhale, contract that belly button, lift the heel, lift the arm. Inhale, bring the arm and leg down. Exhale, bring it back to the center. Other side, bring that opposite arm and leg outward. Breathe in. Contract the belly button, lift the leg, lift the arm. Arm and leg come down, breathe in. Exhale, back to the center. Let's repeat that. Extend opposite arm and leg, breathe in. Exhale, belly button tight, lift the arm, lift the leg. Inhale, bring that arm and leg down. Exhale, bring it back on in. Other side, last time. Here we go. Opposite arm and leg. Belly button tight. Exhale, arm and leg up. Inhale, arm and leg down. Exhale back to the center. All right, so here's where we're going to come up off the floor. I'm checking our time too. I'm going to use my chair to help myself, but you can bring the hands in between, hands at the top of the yoga mat, bring that foot in between the hands. I do the hand on the chair, hand on the leg, contract my belly button, lean forward, lift up. And then from here, come up and bring the hands to heart center. So sometimes when we come up to standing, we can get dizzy. So I like to drop my chin towards my chest and just breathe in. Just breathe out. Again, inhaling, exhaling. So I want to show one more variation of bird dog. It's the standing version. Again, if you're seated, you're going to do the seated version again, or you're going to come around to the back of the chair. So let me get my yoga blanket out of the way and get my lightweight metal chair from a card table. So what I like to do, and you can do this with fingertips on the wall, by the way, and you may have seen Miss Vicky do this, maybe not, depending on how her camera was. So I'm standing behind the chair. And again, you're doing opposite arm and leg if you're seated. And I have my fingertips on the chair. I got to decide which side I'm going to do. So the arm that's closest to you, I'm going to bring that arm up. And you may already notice some stuff going on with your back muscles when you do this. And you may need to have a bend in the elbow. So just kind of, figure out where your sweet spot or not so sweet spot is. And then I'm thinking about tall, tall, tall spine. Then I'm going to take the opposite foot, step it back. So this may be all you're doing. You're on the ball of the foot. That may be all you can do. But maybe you can lift the foot off the ground, really extend up. So you kind of get this diagonal contraction energy going on with your back and release. Now we're going to do a cat pose to release that. Hands on the legs, hands on the chair, curve your spine to the back of the chair. You got to be away from the back of the chair if you're doing the seated version. And then come back on up. Let's do seated or standing back bend while we're here. We're going to do fists on the hips. Push your chest to where the wall meets the ceiling. You can tuck your chin in towards your chest or lift your chin just a little bit, not too much though. And then bring it back to heart center. We're going to do the other side. So fingertips on the chair. Think about, okay, now I got to think about what did I just do? I got to do it on the other side. Other arm up. And then, figure out where your sweet or not so sweet spot is. It's different on this side. Notice if it's different. Might be. And then step your foot back a little bit. This may be all you're doing, but you're probably still feeling lots of activation in those back muscles. Yes or no? And then if it's available, if you've got the balance, lift the heel off the ground or lift the toes off the ground. Don't forget to breathe. Oh, I'm wiggling on this side. Woo! And then bring it back in. Let's do cat pose. Curve your spine to the back of the room. Make it look, here's your awkward pose. Make it look awkward. And then let's do fist on the hips. It's kind of like cow pose. Woo! A little easing there. And release. And you know what? Let's go into tree pose. All right. So if you're seated on the chair, this one's kind of weird on the chair. You got to take your yoga block here at the kind of front. Yeah. Can you still see it in the camera? I guess you can. And then sitting at the edge, and you have a foot on the yoga block and your foot out to the side. And you really got your behind on the edge of the chair. Hands to heart center, hands up. You're really kind of lengthening out of the pelvis towards the sky. So standing, very similar. Stepping a foot out. I lift my heel, turn my foot, one knee one direction, one knee the other. Now try not to jut your hip, okay? Try to have a straight line here from the armpit down to the ankle. Lift the heel, bring it in. Maybe fingertips on the chair or not. I'm quite wiggly. Mine's a swaying tree. Or you can be on the ball of the foot. That works too. But the objective is knee out to the side. You kind of get into the nooks and crannies of that hip bone. And release. Now we're going to switch the block over to the other side. Do the other leg for your tree pose on the other side. Again, step it out. Lift that knee, turn that foot out to the side. Be firm in your stance. And then start doing the little variations. Start walking it in. Maybe it can go to the inner thigh. Maybe it can go to the calf, but never the knee, okay? Again, you don't want to be hurting yourself doing it. Again, I tend to jet my hips. I got to think about tall body. Sometimes the knee starts traveling to the front. You want to invite it out to the side, okay? and release. All right, we're going to get down to the floor again because I know everybody's going, when are we going to do block bridge? When? We're going to do it now. And if you're seated on the chair, hopefully you have like a little back to the chair. Otherwise, this does not translate well. So basically, you're going to push your behind up against that block. Again, this is one of the poses this is the reason why you have a yoga block at home, because this is like close to what I call wonderful. So we're going to go into constructive rest pose, but we got to do notice pose first, right? We got to notice it. So extend those legs. Once you get down to the floor, notice how your body feels. Is there's a little bit more easing of the body? I hope so. All right, go back to constructive rest pose, feet on the yoga mat, knees bent away from the back of the chair. Now we're going to walk our feet towards our behind, walk, walk, walk. And then either with your hand grabbing your booty, lift your low side of your body up, or your own strength, lift up, place that block low on your behind. And I have to kind of walk my shoulders away, tuck my chin in towards my chest. And you can do this without the block. This is like not cool for you and your body. That's okay. Yeah. We're going to do what we can with what we got. Raise a leg up. Shake that leg. Shake that leg whether you're on the chair or whether you're here on your back. And then shake it, wiggle it side to side. This is weird when you go side to side, in my opinion. And again, shake. And side to side. And bring that leg down. Very good. Let's do the other side. So bring the other leg up and then shake in the air. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Maybe you can bring the other leg up. Shake them both at the same time. Kind of like we did the arms, where we were kind of vibrating the arms through space earlier. That little basketball drill. And shake side to side. Again, this is called block bridge. This was in my training for easing back challenges. And then, whoo, feel that energy. Feel that sensation going on. And then lower one leg. Take your time. Lower the other one. Then I'm going to press into the floor with my feet, press into my shoulders, raise up, bring that block out, and roll my spine down. And just kind of notice what you notice here. And then let's go ahead and do the notice pose. So extend the leg. And the other, shake those feet, shake those hips, shake those shoulders. So this is where I invite you for the guided rest and relaxation. So you can stay here in this position if you like. You can settle into the chair. Those of us that have those metal chairs or those lightweight chairs, what we'll often do, we'll do legs on the chair or legs up the wall. Again, that's good for edema, for varicose veins. But if you're doing legs on the chair, I just kind of cartwheel my legs, and it's going to be cold, I bet. Put my pant leg down. And then I kind of walk my behind away a little bit, so I have this little traction feeling. It's really kind of nice in the body. And I either have my arms out to the side. Maybe I'll take that outside leg and cross it on top so it won't come flopping to the floor. It's never done that, but there you go. Maybe hands on the belly. Close the eyes or gaze softly someplace. While y'all are getting comfortable, again, I invite you to get comfortable and come up to the room and do our guided rest and relaxation practice. Again, I take my time coming up off the floor. So again, I invite you to get comfortable. Breathing in and out.